Salt history is a fascinating one, since it played a crucial role in human civilization for thousands of years. In prehistoric times, it was one of the first seasoning used by humans, and they discovered the taste of salt in form of rock salt deposit and soft spring. And in ancient civilization, salt was highly prized and used for various purposes, and it was very important, particularly in China, Egypt, and Mesopotamia. And like in Egypt, they used salt for preserving mummies and for religious ceremonies. And in Chinese were mining salt as early as 6000 BC, and they were among the first to use natural brine wells. In the Middle Ages, salt became a valuable commodity, and they called it white gold. And beside food preservation, it was as well used for carrying goods and as a form of currency or barter. Like in parts of Africa, salt blocks were traded for goods like gold. And European monarchs often controlled salt production and imposed heavy taxes, leading to the creation of salt monopolies. Salt sources played a significant role in the exploration of new lands, and explorers like Christopher Columbus were motivated in part by the desire to find new sources. It was transported through Sahara Desert, salt caravans, Silk Road, and the Via Salaria in Italy, all through to where the salt was scarce, and as well to facilitate cultural exchange. At the colonial period, European powers controlled salt-producing regions as part of their overseas expansion. Like the French and British established salt works in North America. Most of governments throughout history established salt monopolies and imposed salt taxes as a source of revenue, and this only led to salt becoming heavily regulated and expensive commodity in many places. And in Industrial Revolution, they brought significant advancement in salt production, developing of new methods of extracting salt from underground deposit. The evaporation brine and the modern salt processing method were developed during this time. Today, salt is primarily produced through the mining of underground salt deposit or the evaporation of seawater and brine, and it has become a crucial ingredient in various industries like production of chlorine, soda ash, different chemicals, as well as food processing. We also have chemical manufacturing, water treatment, road de-icing, and manufacturing of glass and paper. Salt has more than 14,000 uses. I grew up where we used to borrow salt from neighbors all the time. My grandmother would treat everything with salt water or pour salt on a wound, and all were cured. I grew knowing salt is something you cannot say no to someone in need unless you don't have it yourself. So let us also say no to our body when we crave for it. In those ages, humans used to obtain salt from eating animal meat, and after some years, they discovered salt from vegetables, and later they found seawater also gave salty flavor as the same as salt from the animal meat. And their diets consisted of like 50% meat and 50% plants. And because of their large consumption of vegetable, the potassium level were leveling with the salt intake. Unless nowadays, most of us don't take a lot of vegetables which are higher in potassium. And over many millennia later, the human hunter learned how salt could preserve food, cure heats, and heal wounds with its medicinal use. And they started trading salt with other different goods, as I mentioned earlier. And in ancient Chinese philosopher used to call salt the sweetest thing on earth. But in the last few generations, I doubt if we value salt as sweetest. Before refrigeration was discovered, salt was the main antimicrobial and preservative agent, which helped to maintain the freshness of foods for weeks and months. In Greece and Roman era, it played a significant role in the human empire. Roman soldiers were often paid in salt, where salary derived from salarium, a Latin word meaning salt money, and was also used as a symbol of a binding agreement. And the absence of salt in Roman table was interpreted as an unfriendly act, and it raised suspicion to those who visited. Salt played a prominent role determining the power and location of the world's greatest city. As well, it created and destroyed empires, and especially when the world considered sea salt to be superior than rock salt. Salt by then was life force for ancient world. And during World War II, soldiers used salt to assist combatants in dealing with dehydration in hot jungle and desert environments. Salt has held a cultural and symbolic significance in various societies. Has also been used in religious rituals and beliefs as a sign of friendship and in various superstitions and customs. Like salt in the Bible signify permanency, loyalty, durability, value, usefulness, and purification. And in many cultures, they used to offer salt and bread to their visitors as a traditional etiquette. Also, it was used to be sprinkled to prevent evil spirits from casting a spell on people and places. And salt in Quran, according to Islam guidance, it named one of the best food one can take before and after meals. And it's recommended by one the Prophet, and he said, a person who does this act is protected from 70 types of diseases or curses, and leprosy being the minor one. And in according to Hinduism, they state the salt is on par in everything. No food tastes good without salt, and salt is the favorite with ancestors, and when one is on their deathbed, salt should be given as a gift because it opens the doorway to heaven. Those long ago years, salt was used as currency, and it was considered a valuable commodity, and one of its major importance of it was, and still is, always used as a food flavor enhancer. And also it was used as a color controller, binder, texturizer, and fermentation control agent. One could have a death penalty for smuggling salt, which is funny comparing to this century, and this was serious that those who worked in salt company were exempted from being drafted into the army. Salt in its natural mineral form has been one of the oldest known diet supplements. There has been no doubt and there is no scientific question concerning the benefits of salt and particularly sodium for athletes involved in warm weather sports, and salt tablet has been used for more than 50 years in football training camps and has been successfully employed as a supplement to the sports drink supplement like in races, marathon running and cycling events. As year went by, meat intake was reduced. Researchers stating that meat intake also has high risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes and stroke, same as salt, and still recent generation are not eating a lot of vegetable. So we are getting worse by the day, since no enough sodium and no enough potassium, which means our body are crashing slowly by day due to lack of these important minerals. And still in these modern times, concerns have risen about salt consumption and its potential impact on health issues. And after meat reduction, in these modern times, concerns have risen about salt consumption and its potential impact on health issues. And as a result, efforts have been made to reduce salt intake in many societies. Rather, there is a big ongoing debate about salt intake and its importance or impact in human health. So, salt has been a vital commodity throughout human history, playing roles in foods, trade, taxation, and culture. Its significance has evolved over time from a precious commodity to an essential and easily accessible seasoning in modern time. Don't miss my next episode, Still on Salt. See you then.